everybody, Mr. Traveler here. No Miss Traveler this week. She's busy. So for today's Tip Tuesday, we're going to dig into Alaska. Now this is not necessarily a comprehensive view of what's going on with Alaska, but basically a broad overview just to kind of give you a general idea of what you can expect or what you can look for in doing an Alaska cruise. So I've got a few screens open. We can jump in and look at some of the itineraries and give you some ideas. I got the new screensaver up. Ready to go. So what I opened up here is I just opened up Royal Caribbean, and I have Princess, I believe, here. And I just wanted to show you a few different options. The one that I recommend, if you're going to take the time and money to go to Alaska, you know, you may only do it once. You may be compelled to do it more than once, like many people are, but you may only do it once. You may be somebody like me and Miss Traveler who just love the Caribbean so much it's hard for us to go to cold climates. But that being said, let me say this: out of all the cruises that we've done, Alaska is so beautiful and by far was our favorite destination so far. I mean, we've got a lot of little favorite islands and different cruise and itineraries and stuff that we like, but Alaska was truly amazing. You cannot replicate it. Words can't even describe it. That being said, what I recommend, and I would recommend this to any of my clients, is either doing a northbound or a southbound cruise from Alaska. And usually the north or southbound will either start in Alaska and go down to Vancouver or Seattle, somewhere in there, or vice versa, starts in Seattle or Vancouver and goes up to Whittier or to Seward, Alaska. So, and the reason I say that is that when we did this one, this is how we did it. We did the southbound Alaska cruise. We flew into Anchorage and we spent 2 days in Anchorage. We rented a car. We were able to drive up to Denali. We were able to do some different driving around through Anchorage and the local area. And yes, you can get these add-ons, the pre and post cruise stuff through the cruise companies, and it's perfectly fine. But I'm here to tell you that you can do this on your own and it would be a lot cheaper. We rented a car, I don't know, $150 or something like that for the day, and it was my wife and I and my brother-in-law and his wife, and we split the cost of the vehicle. So I mean, you can't beat it, and it was just absolutely great. Then from Anchorage you can either catch a bus or a train, which I recommend the train to really get the good experience of Alaska. We'll get into that after we look at the cruises here. So here's Royal Caribbean. This is next July. If you're thinking about doing an Alaska cruise, this is a great time to plan it for next year. I'll be glad to help you out. www.mr-traveler.com, and we can look at some pricing for you. But here, let's take a look at this one. So this is the 7 nights southbound. So this is the one I've been talking about. And if we open this up here, we can look at here's day one, Seward. So it leaves from Seward, and this is awesome right here, guys. It goes right into the glacier. So if you can see on here that you have the little chunks of ice floating in the water there, and it was like freezing cold right here because the wind comes right off that glacier, and it was really cold. Here I am. But absolutely beautiful, stunning. There was eagles and sea lions sitting on the chunks of ice as we were going by, and they were just looking at us, and it just was fabulous. From there it goes on to Juneau, and Juneau is the capital of Alaska. And did you know that you cannot get there by road? It's the only state capital that is not accessible by road, so you have to get there by boat or plane. Absolutely beautiful. You can get to I believe you can get to the Mendenhall Glacier from Juneau. Skagway is like a trip back in time, like an old mining town. It's really cool. Icy Strait Point, longest zip line, I think is the longest zip line in North America. I'm not sure where. It's huge. They had a huge zip line there. Ketchikan, we actually went fishing there, and we didn't do it through the cruise company. We went on there and found a local fishing company, which they've got a ton of them, and we got with the boat owner, and we went out there with some other guests and went fishing for king salmon. Inside passage is absolutely beautiful, guys. The water is so still, it looks like glass. It looks like the ship is cutting through glass. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then the ship arrives in Vancouver, British Columbia, and we spent 2 days here. So that's what I mean. Take your time with the cruise. You can take a couple weeks off of work and really have a good time here. Vancouver is beautiful. We rented a car again and just drove around Vancouver, and it's beautiful. A lot of great restaurants, and we actually drove up to Whistler, which is the site of the old Winter Olympics up there. And during the summertime, they turned the ski hill into a bike park, like an extreme bike park. Like these guys are coming down the ramp and doing flips and all kind of crazy stuff. So look it up on YouTube. You'll like be amazed. I wouldn't try it. I'm like a daring person, but I would not try that one. It's a little bit extreme. So that was Whistler. You can put in like Whistler Bike Park, and it'll come up. Okay, so I'll show you Princess real quick. And some of the different options. They have the inside passage, so you can see the round trip. So for the round trip here, it's leaving from Seattle, and you still get to go to Juneau, Skagway. A bonus for Princesses, they actually have access into Glacier Bay National Park, which is a World Heritage Site, and they're one of the few people that can get into the Glacier Bay. It also goes to Ketchikan, and then you're back. It goes to Victoria, British Columbia, and then ends back up in Seattle. So you still get to see a lot of the same things, but you don't get that experience up at Anchorage, Seward, or Whittier that you do with the north and southbound. So you get to see that whole package. And that's just my opinion. That any one of these packages that you do is absolutely beautiful. You'll love it. You'll have a great time, and it'll be a beautiful memory. But I recommend it so you can see, really get into the heart of Alaska, up near Anchorage and going up into Denali. I definitely recommend Denali. I mean, we saw a moose that was bigger than our car. I mean, this thing was huge. You see reindeer on the side of the road. You see eagles in the air. I definitely recommend that. If you do it, here's the train that goes from Anchorage. This is the alaskatrain.com, and I'll show you some of the pricing on here. You see it goes from Anchorage to Whittier. I believe it's Princess that goes to Whittier, and Royal Caribbean goes to Seward. Not quite sure about the other lines, but any one of these ports, you see the train goes to all these different ports. So just let's take a look at Seward, and we can go in here and put one adult. And let's pick some time in the summer. Cruising time, June, July, and August for Alaska. That's the best time to go. You can get some in May and September, but it will be chilly. So let's do June 10th from Anchorage to Seward, and one person. So here you can see that the adventure class car is $105 per adult. And the Gold Star dorm was $207. Now you can go on this site, the alaskatrain.com, and see the difference between them. But the adventure class, you have a very large picture window to the side of you that you can look out of and see, which is what we had. The Gold Star dome is just actually, the whole train has a glass roof and glass walls, and I guess you can see some more. But trust me when I tell you, we saw a lot on the adventure class. Now I'm going to give you a good secret that we found out, and it was just happenstance because we did Royal Caribbean southbound trip on here, and I found this Alaska train, and I booked it because when we went on Royal Caribbean and looked at the transfer price to get from Anchorage to Seward, and I don't recall the price offhand, but it was much more than this $105 per adult. I want to say like the train ticket was like $250 a person or something. It was something like that. Okay. Well, what I found out is this is the Alaska train right here. You can kind of make out Mrs. Traveler's face there in the reflection. Well, this is what we paid the $100 for per person to get from Anchorage down to the ship. Guess what these two are on the end of the train? That's the Royal Caribbean cars that they were charging $250 for per person, hooked up to the exact same train. So there's your tip right there. One thing you should know about Alaska is that the excursions are more pricey than you're used to seeing on any of the Caribbean. You know, you're talking maybe $200 to $500, or even more if you want to do you know, like private helicopter tours and these type of things. But to take like a helicopter out to the glacier was like $400 or $500 a person, or you can do the dog sledding. I don't recall the price offhand, but it was pricey. A lot of things there are pricey. You can do plenty of exploring on your own without doing the excursions. There's so much to see and so much to do. Do your research. You can ask me some questions. If I know, I'll respond to you and get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, I totally recommend this Alaska cruise. It's beautiful. Several of you have been asking about our thoughts and just talking in general about the Alaska cruise. So that's my take on it. I think it should be on everybody's bucket list, at least to do one time in life. It is absolutely beautiful. You're going to see whales, you're going to see bears, you're going to see porcupine, you're going to see eagles, you're going to see moose, you're going to see reindeer, stuff that you just don't see. And huge mountains. We were so blessed to be there that day. We were actually able to see the top of Mount McKinley, which it's kind of hit or miss there. It's usually covered with in the clouds. But both days we were there, we could see it beautifully. Being in Anchorage at 2 o'clock in the morning and the sun is still up like it's the middle of the day, you know, it's just really seafood so fresh. Alaskan crab. I could go on and on and on and make this video forever, but guys, I definitely recommend it. What I'm going to do is, when we took the Alaska trip, it was kind of like, it was definitely pre Mr. Traveler days per se, but I did do kind of a slideshow video thing. I've been doing videos and stuff for a long time, but they're on CDs and stuff like that, and the quality is not as good. But I would capture some of this stuff and I put it on an Alaska slideshow with a little bit of videos on there. It's not the best, but it gives you a little flavor for it. I'll put it right here, and you guys can check it out. And again, if I can help you, www.mr-traveler.com, and let's talk about doing an Alaska cruise next year. You will not regret it at all. So guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Life's short. Have fun. Bye.